For over 4 centuries, the fate of 115 English settlers, who vanished from Roanoke Island, has captivated historians, archaeologists, and the public imagination. What began as England's ambitious attempt to establish its first permanent colony in the New World ended in one of history's most enduring mysteries. Today, however, groundbreaking archaeological discoveries, advanced DNA testing, and sophisticated research techniques are finally beginning to shed light on what truly happened to America's lost colony. In 1587, Sir Walter Raleigh's third and most ambitious attempt to colonize the New World set sail from England. Unlike previous expeditions consisting solely of military men, this voyage carried entire families, 90 men, 17 women, and 11 children, determined to build England's first permanent settlement in North America. Led by Governor John White, the colonists included his pregnant daughter, Eleanor Dare, and her husband Ananias Dare, setting the stage for both triumph and tragedy. The colonists were meant to settle in the Chesapeake Bay area, but Portuguese navigator Simon Fernandes, who harboured his own piratical ambitions, instead deposited them on Roanoke Island off the coast of present-day North Carolina. This 18-square-mile island between the Outer Banks and the mainland was hardly ideal for a permanent settlement, but the colonists had little choice. On August 18, 1587, Eleanor Dare gave birth to Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the New World, a moment that should have marked the beginning of English America. Instead, it became part of an unsolvable riddle. Governor White departed for England just weeks later to secure desperately needed supplies, expecting to return within a year. The Spanish Armada's threat to England delayed his return until August 1590. When White finally reached Roanoke Island, he found the settlement completely abandoned. The colonists' houses had been carefully dismantled, their belongings seemingly packed away, and defensive fortifications surrounded the site. The only clues to their fate were 2 cryptic messages. Croatoan, carved into a palisade post, and just C-R-O etched into a tree. The mystery that has puzzled scholars for centuries is now experiencing its most significant breakthrough in decades. Recent archaeological discoveries have uncovered compelling evidence that the colonists not only survived, but split into multiple groups, with some assimilating into indigenous communities. Archaeologists have uncovered 2 large piles of iron flakes on North Carolina's Hatteras Island. Mark Horton, an archaeology professor at the Royal Agricultural University in the UK, describes the discovery of hammer scale, a flaky byproduct of traditional blacksmithing, as a real breakthrough. The colonists must have been desperate for a type of material that they otherwise didn't have. They were forging new iron artifacts from the material that they got with them, to make new nails for building houses or ships. The significance of this discovery cannot be overstated. Hammer scale is waste material that wouldn't be traded, and indigenous peoples of the period lacked iron forging technology. Radiocarbon dating of the layer of dirt in which the hammer scale was found suggests its age aligns with the lost colony. This iron trash strongly suggests that English settlers made it to Hatteras Island in the late 16th century and were actively working metal alongside their indigenous hosts. Even more intriguing discoveries have emerged from the Elizabethan gardens on Roanoke Island itself. Excavations in March 2024 have uncovered shards of Algonquian pottery dating back to the 1500s, along with a ring of copper wire likely worn by an Algonquian warrior. Archaeologists speculate that the ring was brought to North America by the English settlers and traded with the indigenous people who believed that copper had spiritual significance. Perhaps the most significant recent discoveries have occurred not on the coast, but inland. Researchers examining a map at the British Museum in London that White had painted of the Elizabethan-era United States, titled La Virginia Pars, discovered hidden fort symbols drawn in invisible ink, presumably to guard information about the colonies from the Spanish 50 miles west of Roanoke. This discovery led archaeologists to Bertie County, North Carolina, where they have excavated 2 remarkable sites. At Site X, archaeologists found 24 shards of English pottery just outside a Native American village wall. Ground-penetrating radar revealed another possible dig site 2 miles away. The search continued in at what's been dubbed Site Y, yielding many more fragments. The archaeological evidence is compelling. Notable is a lack of English pipes, which were ubiquitous among Jamestown settlers, suggesting the ceramics date from an earlier period. The documentary record shows conclusively that there was no English occupation or settlement at Site Y in the first half of the 17th century, making a connection to the 1655 permanent settlement by Nathaniel Batts impossible. The most significant potential link between the lost colony and modern populations lies with the Lumbee tribe of southeastern North Carolina. During the 1970s, the Lumbee people were typed for the human leukocyte antigen, and they had a low frequency of HLA-B40, while more Native American groups have a high frequency, which proves that admixture with Europeans has occurred in the tribe. The Lumbee may be the oldest mixed tribe in the United States. They claim to have absorbed descendants of the lost colony of Roanoke, the second attempt of the English to plant a colony on the east coast of North America in 1587. When the Lumbee of Robeson County were first recognized by the state of North Carolina in 1885, they were declared to be Croatan Indians. They drew attention to many surnames, such as Cooper and Berry, found both in the lost colony and on their rolls. In 1888, 1891 and 1914, historians and North Carolina legislators determined that the Lumbee were likely the descendants of the colonists based upon their own oral history, the Lumbee language which incorporated 300-years-old English Elizabethan words, their last names and their countenance. Modern genetic analysis has provided intriguing complete evidence. Mitochondrial DNA, inherited solely from the maternal line, provides insights into the tribe's Native American ancestry. Haplogroup A2, prevalent among eastern Native American tribes, is common in the Lumbee population. Additionally, genetic markers suggestive of Cherokee and Creek heritage have been identified. Y-chromosomal DNA, passed down from father to son, tells the tale of the tribe's paternal lineages. Haplogroup R1b, dominant in Western Europe, is widespread among the Lumbee. This suggests a strong European influence through male ancestry. However, the genetic picture remains complex. DNA studies continue long-term to match European DNA markers among today's Croatan descendants, with notable success. European DNA markers include Hispanic and English groups requiring further examination. No discussion of the lost colony would be complete without addressing one of archaeology's most controversial discoveries, the Dare Stones. The Dare Stones are a series of stones inscribed with messages supposedly written by members of the lost Roanoke colony, allegedly discovered in various places across the southeastern United States in the late 1930s. The first stone was reported in 1937 by Lewis E. Hammond, who claimed to have found it near the Chowan River. The inscription referred to another stone marking a mass grave, prompting an intense search. The stone purported to be a message from Eleanor Dare to her father John White, describing the tragic deaths of her husband Ananias and daughter Virginia. The inscription describes the colonists moving further inland shortly after Governor John White departs for England. They suffer misery and war with the local tribes, and their numbers are reduced by illness even more until only 24 are left. After a ship is spotted, the Indians turn against them and attack, killing all but 7 of the remaining 24, including her husband Ananias and her daughter Virginia. However, the other 47 stones at Roanoke, presented in response to a reward offer, were of a markedly different style. All of these were eventually connected to Georgia stonecutter Bill Eberhart and discredited. By 1941, scholars and the press had dismissed all of the Dare stones as hoaxes, although the authenticity of Hammond's stone has not been conclusively proven or disproven. Recent analysis has provided new perspectives on the first stone. When Roanoke president Ed Schrader took the first stone to the University of North Carolina at Asheville for analysis in 2016, after slicing off one end of the quartzite stone, he discovered the interior was bright white, while the exterior and carvings were much darker. The original inscription would have been a stark contrast to the weathered exterior, a good choice for a Roanoke colonist, but a poor one for a modern forger. Epigraphy, the study of inscriptions, could provide another line of evidence. Heather Wolfe at the Folger Shakespeare Library examined high-resolution images of the stones and concluded, "There is nothing that jumps out as a forgery." Her one doubt was the use of Eleanor Dare's 3 initials, EWD, which was not a standard way to sign one's name in that era. The mounting archaeological and genetic evidence paints a picture far different from earlier theories of massacre or starvation. Instead, it suggests a story of survival, adaptation, and cultural integration that would have been the colonists' best hope for survival in the New World. The new discovery fits in well with historical and archaeological information. It absolutely makes sense that the lost colony would have moved to Hatteras Island. They wrote exactly where they were going, to Croatoan. The word carved into the palisade wasn't a mystery, it was literally a forwarding address. The evidence suggests the colonists split into multiple groups. Some went south to Hatteras Island, Croatoan, where they lived alongside the friendly Croatoan people, intermarrying and assimilating into the community. Others travelled inland to the Chowan River area, where they established small settlements near indigenous villages, working metal, farming, and maintaining their English pottery traditions for a time. Despite these remarkable discoveries, researchers acknowledge that the mystery isn't completely solved. Site Y does not solve the lost colony mystery completely. It answers the old question: where did the settlers go? But the new question is, what happened to them there? Their stay appears to have been brief. What happened to change their situation? Disease, famine, or enemies?